Hello, it's Loretta West and welcome to Tangle Tuesday. And I can see things are a little kitty wampus here. Let's straighten out my camera a little bit. That's a little better. Today we're going to have a fun holiday themed Zentangle lesson. And I'm going to be using the Zendala tile in white. You could use the black one too, or another color they come in. Oh, I think they come in that tan color as well. And hang on, just letting somebody in here. And or you could use your sketchbook and you could utilize something like a CD, which I just had 2 seconds ago. Here we go. A CD to use a template, or you don't have to do round. And I'll talk about that. So that's one thing you might want to go grab, something round if you don't have the tile. And you're going to need a pen, and I'm using a fine tipped Pitt Artist pen this morning, and I also have my Tombow mono drawing pen in 01. I have a pencil, and because I couldn't find my Zentangle pencil, which is weird because I have a million of them, I have Plumbing Supply today, which is actually one of my favorite pencils. Had it for a long time. I don't know. It's got a nice lead. And see, it's so old. We were living in Massachusetts back then. That's old. And I also have for doing the black puddling or the black accents, I actually not a black pen, but you could use a black pen. But because last night when I was doing this, I couldn't find my black brush pen, my Faber-Castell black Pitt Artist pen in black. So I ended up grabbing dark indigo number 157, and I really like it. So I kept it. It's like, oh, this works. Okay, and but black or any dark color will work. I have some Prismacolor pencils to use this morning, a white for certain, and I'll just show you the sort of, still going to through every color. Show you an array of colors. So you're just going to pick what colors speak to you for the today's lesson. You don't have to use the colors that I'm using, but gives you an idea. There's sort of fall, autumn to shades to a little bit of red there for Christmas and the holiday season coming up. Put those aside. Just take a moment to get yourself situated, get yourself comfortable in your chair. Get this up there. Take a deep breath and let it out. I know for many people watching this is their big week, American Thanksgiving, and family and cooking and preparing and whatnot. And that can be a lot of pressure for a lot of people. Just the preparation, and then, half an hour, meal's done. We're all done. So just take a minute. This is your time. Just decompress. Everything's going to be okay. It'll all turn out just fine. And then it'll be over, just like that. So you're going to need a pencil, and I'm going to be working in the round, but I'm going to show you what you can do if you're not working in the round with this. Whoops, there's one pencil that didn't get into the bunch. There it is, rolling around. Okay, so if you have a Zendala tile, you can roughly about a finger's width or so, or thumb width from each edge. You can put some dots, doing them horizontally and vertically, sort of. This is just a guideline, it's not exact. And then I'm going to do another one here. Press my finger down and do another one over here. And let somebody in with my other hand. Okay. And then over here. So I've got a few dots here. I'm going to do another one here. And then I'm going to draw a line so it's a circle connecting those dots roughly. It doesn't have to be perfect. And if you have a template, you're probably done already. This is just a guideline. So it's not a perfect circle. You can see it's just a guideline, very lightly. So if you have another piece of paper, you have your regular square piece of paper. Again, you could use a template like a CD, but this doesn't have to be square. You could make a triangle. You could make a rectangle or a square. And I also want to show you, this is something I learned in art school. So it's really hard to make a perfect circle, but if you just rub your pencil, that's really good. Look at that. Okay, let's start again. That's funny. Okay, down here and try to make it as round as you can. And you just go around and around and around and around and around and around. One of these lines is going to look rounder than the other. And so you'll sort of pick one that is the roundest and the most symmetrical looking. It just looks funny, doesn't it? But it really works. And then you can take some graphite paper and take your round shape and trace over it onto the graphite paper onto another piece of paper. You can do the same thing for an elliptical. So if you're doing an ellipse on the top of something, you do the same thing. So that's a quick way to make a circle in a fun way. You get to scribble. Let's go back to my Zandela tile, and I'm going to switch to my pen. So I have a Pitt pen here in an F for fine. And this lesson was inspired by something I saw on Instagram by Yoku Takamasu. And so if you want to follow her, she's beautiful work. Yoku Takamasu. _underscore Tangle. So I felt very inspired by what she'd done. And I thought, oh, we could do that. Actually, before I start that, I'm gonna go back to my pencil. I forgot an important bit. Oh my. Okay, so this is sort of a wreath shape. As you can see, we're gonna do a wreath today, but we're going to do a ribbon on it. So with my pencil, I'm gonna take my pencil and do this sort of S shape. And you can see I'm hooking around this pencil line here and here. So this is the banner that's going there. And you can have it, it doesn't have to be, but the idea is that you'll be writing words in here, and it doesn't have to be horizontal. It can be at an angle. It can be any way you want. So play around with it. Play around with your angle. Now I'm going to get my pen out. I got ahead of myself. Okay, so we're going to start with a simple tangle first. Actually, all these are really simple. And coming off, I'm just going to start right here in this corner and do this sort of prétend little thing. little coil, and then have some aura that around. And this probably has a name. And had I not spent time this morning texting with my old neighbor, I would tell you what the name was, but I got distracted. Oh dear, oh dear. Okay, and then we're going to have a little poke root coming off here in this berry type shape. So I'm following the curve of my circle here. If you had a triangle or a rectangle or a square, you would be following that as well. And a little bit of muka here, just a little fragment of it. I think that's muka. And maybe have the rest of it come over here. And remember to hold your pen lightly. I have another one up here because I just like doing them. And then she had this cool flower, and I couldn't find the name of that either, but it's the stem, and then a leaflet. Fine lines here, dotted lines for the center. Sort of like a lotus flower. I have another one of those Préton-like things coming around. And then in between, you can put some little tipple, little tiny orbs here and there. And then muka kind of shapes. So really sort of repeating a lot of them. We'll be repeating these patterns all the way around. And again, my circle here in pencil is just a guideline. So if you feel that, oh, I want to make it rounder or something, feel free to do that. Maybe you come up with another tangle. You think, oh, that'll be really good in here. I like what's happening here. So you can more of that flower shape. More muca coming off here. And another poke root berry. So it's very festive, lots of elements going on. We'll do another muca. Down, across, over, over, out. Remember to sit straight if you can to your work. Bend forward at the hips. We're going to just bend forward where your pants crease. Some little spaces I can fill here with a few little orbs. Little printemps like shape. Try to think about how things grow and bend and are lively. More curvature than straight. Maybe some leaf shapes. Think about how you're holding your pen. Are you gripping it tightly? Well, up this, I think I'll just go over this banner with my pen so I don't forget it's there. Then I'll come right on the other side of this banner to do this flower. You might want to think about the mantra, I am enough, I have enough. This really is about plenty. It really indicates to me about plenty, abundance. So I want to mention that if you haven't already, to make sure that you join the Facebook group Tangle Tuesday, 2 words, and share your work there and anywhere else you'd like to share it with, whether it's on social media or giving it to a friend, a family member, or leaving for somebody to find. Another one of these little Printemps things. It's funny, I look back, I go, oh, I haven't done one of those for a little bit, so then I'll include it. Small herbs. If you wanted to, you could add the Tangle Vertigo here and there with the evergreen-like stems. Just allow things to grow. could even do this in a heart shape, this wreath. And in Sweden, the heart is a symbol of Christmas. So you see hearts everywhere. And they make this beautiful wafer thin shortbread cookies out of hearts and heart shapes. They're just delicious. We were lucky to go there one Advent. It's when they start all their festivities on Advent. And there were people singing in the streets, folk songs, and on their way home from dinner. And they have these Yule board, which is a great, huge buffet. All this food, reindeer to fish, herring, lots of herring, different types of herring. And it's very, very, very loud. The place where we were staying had Yule boards just about every night in the hotel. And the next morning we would get leftovers for breakfast. And it was very, very good. I'll finish off here with some muka leaves. So that only took about half an hour or less. It was very fast. Create something really beautiful and look at it and say, oh, does it look sparse in one area and fatter in another? And do I want to add some more? So I'm looking at this and I can see that up here, there's could be some more added here. I think I'll do another. These guys. Maybe another Luca there. I can see over here. Stand a little bit of sprucing up, a little fattening. It's quite thick right here. Just like you were building a wreath, you know, if you were making a wreath out of natural material, you'd look at it and say, oh, this part's narrow, this part needs more. The same idea. You're doing the same thing, but with your pen. I made a wreath, I think it was last fall. There's a wreath making thing at this one too. No, couldn't have been last fall. They're kind of busy that with the pandemic. It must have been the one before that, Christmas before that. They went to a wreath making class and the gal had brought in all these natural materials and made wreaths, and it was really hard work and on the hands. And it did pretty well, but mine kind of, as it dried, stuff started falling out. So by about January, it looked pretty pathetic. And I learned a lot. I learned how hard it was to make a wreath properly. But yeah, just look and see where else you want to add some things, change the shape of it a little bit. Okay, and then in the center, here and there, you're going to do a little bit, I invite you to do a little bit of crescent moon. So the moon, part moon shape. Overlapping, just here and there, wherever it fits for you. Okay, just here and there, but you might want to do the whole thing all the way around the middle if you want. And then I'm going to take my brush pen. So this is a Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen in dark indigo number 157. But a black pen or any dark color will do. I'm going to go around and just puddle in very lightly, not pressing very hard on my pen around the edge of this tile where it meets the tangles. A bit more dramatic. You don't have to do this part if you want to color it in with another thing or leave it natural. You get to decide what you want to do. I just found it made it kind of a little more dramatic doing this. So I like to take a lot of my artwork that, no small as Tangle artwork or other things that I've done, and leave them for people to find. And it's called Art Abandonment. And can go online and print off the little note that says to take it home. And there is a Facebook group called Art Abandonment. And join that, read about the stories. What's interesting are the stories of the people that find the art. And usually it happens at a time when they really need that little lift in their lives. To leave it here on our walking trail in town, little baggies with clothes pegs. And the kids just love finding them, and I get little notes, comments from their parents usually, how excited they were to find a little piece of artwork to take home.
Is that those little triangles? Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Okay, who's going?
I'll go. Is that those little triangle things that you made with the bijou tiles? And they have like a bell in the center. You take the 3 bijou. Yeah.
Yeah, I've abandoned those as well.
Yeah. I know I tried to make one and I thought, my gosh, I'd have to start making those back in April or something to get enough to abandon them, because it took me forever to make one. And I'm thinking, how many did you make to leave out?
I made a few. Once you make a few, so it's really goes really fast. It goes really like in seconds.
They're really adorable. Yeah. I tried to make one and I just thought this would be such a cute idea to do that, but I would have had to start a long time ago to get enough.
Oh, well, you got next year.
That's true.
Next year. But yeah, it doesn't take very long once you figure it out. And the hardest part is deciding what you're going to expose, what sides and where. So if people don't know, on my YouTube channel is how to make this Zen Tangle ornament. I think that's what it's called. And you can find out how to make these, and they're just a lot of fun. And I do leave them for people to find. Does somebody else have another question?
So yeah, it's Elizabeth. I love that idea. So you just like will leave them like in a store or on a bench or at a coffee shop. And
yeah, I don't usually leave them in stores because people are weird. So people can be kind of weird. But public places like in a park, I usually, if they're small, I put them in a Ziploc bag and attach them at kid eye height on a branch. And and then, and the kids just find them and they really like them. But they're good, and you could, hospitals and around hospitals is really, really good.
So you don't actually write anything, you just do the Zen Tangle and fold it, and then you leave it there for
anybody to find. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Very cool.
So you don't have, you can write something if you want. You guys keep going and I'll give you get the info. You can write things. You just try to find.
Because if I found it, I'd probably look around and see if someone like dropped it by accident.
A lot of people, I left one. It's so funny. When I first started doing it, my husband thought it was great. And so I would, he'd come with me, and I dropped one off right below the library return slot. Like, that's pretty obvious, right? And it took forever for somebody to notice it. And people would come up to us, we were watching, and people would come up and and then they would do this sort of approach, like, should I? They'd look at it, and then they'd pick it up and read it, and then they'd put it down, and then they'd kind of walk away, and then they go back and get it. It was quite funny. So here are the little tags. They may have changed them. So you have to go to their Facebook page and see under their files, you can just print them off. So this is what it says: pick me up, hurry before someone else does. This handmade gift has been left here with the hope that it brings you joy. Keep it, pass it on, or leave it for someone else to find. And then the other side, it's got about art abandonment and all about it. And you can, I don't think you can email them anymore. We used to. That's unfortunately, spammers got a hold of their email. But you can go to the Facebook group and leave a little story about finding their.
Can you show me the front part again one more time, please? That is adorable.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I'm just trying to find any of those finished ornaments.
So where is that piece of paper that you just showed us? Like, how do you get that piece of paper?
So you go onto their Facebook group. And in their files.
Oh, all right.
In their files. So I did find one that I completed. So this is the folded ornament. And so, and I show you how to do the dripping. And then I also took some gold ink and I added some gold bits on there. And you just put a piece of ribbon up through the center, and you can put a bell in the center as well. But they're fun, lots of fun. So I was thinking, yeah.
What is the name of your Facebook group? Or I mean your YouTube? How is it listed?
Yes, it's under my name, Loretta West, and then it's Color, COLOUR, Garden Studio. So if you just did Color Garden Studio with the OUR, it should pop up under YouTube.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Right. Okay, let's continue on. I'm just going to get to the coloring portion of this lesson. My other stuff aside. So yeah, makes me think I'm gonna go over the holidays between Christmas and New Year's. I usually do some for the kids. So I'll do some, leave some. And the other thing that's fun, handy are these little canvases to leave for them. So you could draw on them with, what do I use for these? I use oil-based Sharpies, I think. Posca pens will also work. And you could do tangles on them and leave those. And here's another one. There's a little canvas, the white ones. So I have a little thing. I got a little thing. So I got a little cube here full of my little supplies for leaving stuff, including clothes pegs. I'm ready. Like, okay. So it's just fun. And you know, it's funny, and I'll be in town somewhere and they'll ask my name. I'll be doing some official business. Oh, I saw, my daughter picked up one of your pieces of art or something like that. And it's just neat. It's a neat connection with people. So let's start and do a little color. So I'm just going to do a part of the color on this and to show you just to do a section. So I've got a purple, it's got some friend on it. Okay, I have a Parma Violet. These are all Prisma Color Premier. And what do I have here? Here's my this one here, which is a sky blue light. And a little bit of white, right here. White, as you can see, I use a lot of white. Okay, so let's do this berry or this poke root first. I'm just going to go in with the sky blue, lay down a little color. And then I've got this violet to add to it. And go back over it with a little bit of white. So I've got a little highlighted spot. And if it's not dark enough, I'm thinking, it's not quite dark enough. I have a blue, I have a darker blue, I have a blue denim. So I'm just gonna add that over here a little bit on the base of it. You can see, this is with the Prismacolor, it's very muted. And then with these beautiful flowers, I'm gonna use a similar color palette and go back in with my blue, but the blue is going to be on the base of each one of these leaflets or petals. The violet over top. You can use a blender pencil, which I have not at my fingertips, of course, but if I go with white too, will work. I'll go in with my greens here. So I've got a chartreuse green and a Kelly green. I wonder who Kelly was or is. Okay, and then I'm just gonna go a little bit of green right here. Go back with the light green over top and blend them together a little bit. Add this light green on the stem. Here and down here. Same thing for this mugo leaf. And we've got this violet again coming in. A little darker this time with some blue at the base. And then this swirly bit, I'm going to go completely different. I have a raspberry 1030 and a yellow, call it jasmine. I would call this yellow ochre, but it's jasmine is what they call it. And I'm going to go in and just add some yellow here. Yeah. And where it curls, I'm going to take this raspberry, just kind of a brownish red. And add some here where it overlaps the other elements. White here is blender, blend them together. Give a little more highlight. So you get the picture. You just carry on with those kind of color schemes all the way. And then where I have, where this crescent moon is on the inside, let's find a good one here. Here we go. So I'm going to take my Pit pen in dark indigo and go in here and here. So again, you don't have to color if you don't want to add color, but the color does certainly add something to this piece. And then you can go in. This is the neat part. So I've gone over it. It's quite dark, and you can leave it that way, or you can go in over it with your white pencil and just go over that whole little crescent moon. This is going to give it a little muted a little bit. And then here along this banner, write whatever you want. I mean, it's for a lot of you, it's Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving would be good, or a quote, or whatever you feel like. I'm going to show you one. Now, this is one I did last night and this morning, and it's got two places. So I get to write more, but it gives you an idea and then what you can do for color. And then also where the little orbs are, with some of them I went in with a really bright red, which is Scarlet Lake, and this dark green, the Kelly green, and added those. So it is kind of autumn motif, but kind of getting with the berries, getting into winter. So it's a lovely, lovely thing to make for this time of year. I want to thank you all for joining me today. Again, if you feel like sharing your piece on Tangle Tuesday, that would be great. Or you can just send me an email, lorettawest18@gmail.com, and show me a picture, or PM me through Zentangle Okanagan. And I'd love to see what you do. And if you're celebrating this weekend, happy Thanksgiving, and we hope to see you soon.